Tafshin Pei. We're going to speak about the side of Amalek. It's a huge, huge side. There's so much in there we're just going to see a little fraction of it, but trying to understand the tzibui we have to eradicate Amalek. Let's go directly in the psukim. The Torah says, Zocher es asher asa lecha Amalek. Don't forget, remember. Baderech betzeichem mimitzrayim. The Torah had to specify that it was on the way. But if you are on the way, you're on the way to go, not on the way from where you came out of. Betzeichem mimitzrayim. I don't know, belechtechem la'aretz, you should have said, but not betzeichem mimitzrayim. Asher karecha baderech. In the Midrash, you bring three pshatim. Karecha, did he call you up? Did he cool you off from Matan Torah? You know, what happened? From the Nisim you've seen in the Yam Suf, so you were all excited. You were really getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You were during the period like of the Sphira and getting elevated, and then all of a sudden you fall off your ladder. Asher karecha baderech, again, is derech. Vaizanev becha. Vaizanev come from the word zanav. So he attacked those who were necheshalim. He could have said it means necheshalim or nichshalim. Those who stumbled. So there are opinions in Midrashim here who we talk about. We're going to see Ve'ata Oyef Ve'yageya. Now Hashem is going to give a reason for what he requested from us to remember. Because we were tired. The Oyef and Yageya is two terms to define tiredness. But amazing out of everything, Veloy Yarei Eloikim. You were not fearing God still at that point. Is the Pasuk giving a reason for Amalek to choose exactly that time and to fight the Yidden? It was because he was lacking Yiras Shamayim? Then the previous words don't make any sense. Ve'ata ayef ve'yageya. It's not because you were tired, it's because you were not fearing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's either or. What are you saying exactly here? And ve'haya be'aniyach Hashem eleikecha lecha. This arichus lashon I won't have time to go into, so I'm going to go directly to Timchei es zecher Amal. You have to eradicate even the memory of Amalek. Mitachas hashamayim, from under the sky. Loi tishkach. You have a mitzvah asik of Timchei. You have a mitzvah loisasik of Loi tishkach. We cannot forget. Let me ask you a question. Why is, out of all the nations, and I mean, Bilam, Balak, Moab, Midian, name them. None of them has such a stringent zardin on them to eradicate them. Why is Amalek Okay, say something. You're not allowed to get like Ammon and Moab. You're not allowed to have gerim from them. They were not nice, they were nasty, they have bad midas, and so forth. Ammon and Moab, it's only the men. Amalekim is going to be men and women. How is it possible? What have they done exactly in order to deserve that eradication from the worlds, in plural, this one and the next, is the only lot they have left? You want to eradicate them? This we can control. But to eradicate a memory, how exactly should we go about? What it means? The Torah cannot give us a assay and loisase on something that's not doable. How do you eradicate a memory? So every nation now that's trying to, like Germany, like trying to try to eradicate Am Yisrael, so they have a din of Amalek. We should have a din of eradicating them. But we don't see in the Chubas that the Gdolim have come out and tell us, we can do nothing with them. The only thing that transpires that different between, let's say, Ammon and Moab, Bilam and Balak, and Amalek is those remain on their land. To justify Chaz v'Shalom their actions, you can say they defended the land. They thought they'd be attacked, even though Moshe Rabbeinu sent them messengers that he would not attack them. But they didn't believe it, and they decided that they were in danger, and they had to do whatever they had to do. But Amalek came out. On that day, the Midrash said he traveled 400 parsos. When the Bnei Yisrael said, Hayesh Elohim bekirbenu im ayin, this Amalek was transported 400 parsos and arrived the same day. Yet, what's the difference between Amalek and the other nation? It's the brazenness. Shamu Amimir Gazun, all the other nations, they share the same hatred for the Bnei Israel. But they were not brazen enough to face us. Only Amalek had. So the question here is Amalek being punished because brazenness is his chutzpah, is everything you want to call it, is punishable by death, women, children, animals, everything, because they were so brazen? Is that a justification? Or is this midah is incompatible with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Hashem oiz le'amo yiten. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give brazenness to his people. So we see that the midah itself is not what is the problem. So what is it? What Amalek done? Not I'm trying to justify, I'm trying to open the gates to go deeper. What Amalek has done in order to justify such a punishment. The Midrash Rabbah in Eicha quotes an exchange between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Bnei Yisrael. Bnei Yisrael, after the Chorban Beis Hamikdash, told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono shel olam, you wrote in the Torah the mitzvah of Zacher es asher asa lecha Amalek. We have to remember, asa lecha, to you, So they ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to us they've done, and to you they haven't done. Didn't they destroy the Beis Hamikdash? I mean, basically, we know that. We'll see that in an instant. Chachamim say differently. They tie it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we belong to you, and all the nations belong to you. So why? Why are you not caring for your own people, for your own nation? And not only you're not caring, but you join the forces against us in order to punish us. And then Rabbi Yitzchak add that they say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you give a lo yisase, lo yitishkach bad Amalek. We are forgetful, we are human, but you don't forget. So you remember. And that's what David Amelech says in Tehillim, Zecher Hashem Nivne Edom. Remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu what they have done. You asked us, you requested from us to remember what Amalek did to us. Please remember also what Edom did to you, because he was machriv by Sheni. Esyoim Yerushalayim and so forth in the Pasuk, which is the kisei of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the where HaKadosh Baruch Hu used to reside with the Malchus. And not only, they were not satisfied enough with the destruction, they had to plow it, to destroy everything in the foundation. Hashem, the same way you told us the mitzvah to remember, please remember. It's a very challenging midrash, because I almost want to say it's kind of today's current. Today, the word Orthodox was invented by the Reform Jews. There was no Orthodox. But once they became Reformed, in order to differentiate themselves from us, they called us Orthodox. Today, you have the open Orthodox people, because they can challenge with their minds, some mitzvahs, and automatically they can cancel them. That's the whole theory behind, in a nutshell, the philosophy. It's because of Bnei Israel. The Torah was metzaveh to the Bnei Israel, Zacher and Lo Yisishtach. Is it because you have a terutz? It's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu did something to the Beis Hamikdash and to Yerushalayim that free you from Zacher? What is this midrash talking about? What's the whole purpose of this midrash? How can we be freed from these two mitzvahs, the Asa and Lo Yisase, because we tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we turn the table on HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Makes no sense. The Zohar HaKodesh explained the mitzvah of destroying, eradicating the descendant of Amalek. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore on his arm that he will not sit again on the kisei HaKavod, until he will avenge. He will revenge from Amalek. So when Reb Shem Bar Yochai was learning there, Moshe Rabbeinu came, his neshama came, and explained him that this is the reason that the Bnei Israel went through the Midbar and along the Red Sea, and so forth, in order to be receiving the Torah in the Midbar, because with that Torah only can they fight the Klippa of Amalek. They could not enter the land of Israel without receiving the Torah, because Amalek needed, the Klippa of Amalek was so strong that if they were coming in there, they would have never been able to conquer it. So they had to destroy, to lower the power of Amalek in order to be entering. That's the logic behind now you're going to ask me, so what I say in the pasuk, if I have time, I'll explain you this. How Amalek was counting on Bnei Israel to take the shorter route. Indeed, that was the plan of Amalek. He was waiting there. Anyway, so the Zohar keeps on saying, Reb Shem Bar Yochai asked the Moshe Rabbeinu, what Klippa is up there representing Amalek? Who is he up there? Because every nation only has power because of its Sar, its Malach up there. Esav has the Sam. So who's representing Amalek up there? So Moshe Rabbeinu answers that if you take the words Balak and Bilam, just for you not to lose it, you write Balak, Bil, I should have written the opposite way, Bilam, Balak. You see that here you have first two letters, first class letters of Amalek come from Balak. So tells the Zohar Kodesh that their neshama come from the same shoresh as Amalek. And that's why the name of Amalek is included in both of the names, because they partnered up against Bnei Israel. And what they wanted to use, the power they wanted to use, is the power of Amalek out there. Very good. The answer, yet what's the powers of Amalek? The Zohar says, up there on the side of the Bnei Israel, there are four figures that basically are the shoresh of the Bnei Israel. Is Yisrael and Leah, Yaakov and Rachel. Two males, two females. And that's the side of the Kedusha. On the other side, as it says in the pasuk, Lo hibit oven beYaakov. There was no oven in Yaakov. I'll get to it. Velo ra amal beYisrael. That's what Bilam himself admitted. These klippas of Amalek cannot take onto Bnei Israel. So we have already two klippas that we know that are from Amalek, is Amal and Oven, which are against Yaakov and Israel. They're males, and they are exactly on the opposite side, on the left side by the Tumah, against the position of Yaakov and the position of Israel. And by Haman, it says, Yashuv Amaloi Beroishoi. So Haman was a descendant of Amalek. Targum Sheni names all the names between, in Megillah Esther, between Haman all the way up to Amalek. So when you see Yashuv, you will return Amaloi, his efforts on his head. Amaloi comes from Amal. He tried to use the power of his ancestor because Haman was a sorcerer, so was his wife, and Zeresh, and he tried to bring the klippus of Amalek in order to Chmanan Itzlan eradicate the Jews there. So the Zohar concludes, so who are the females of these males klippus? And he says we have kuf in Amalek, so you have Amal. The word Amal is in Amalek. You have kuf kesem, and you have nachash. Kiloi nachash beYaakov veloi kesem beYisrael. And these two, kesem and nachash, they're against the Rachel and Leah. So they are the females. So now we find ourselves with 4 klippus. I'm going to write them for you so you have them. Male and females. So we have kesem. What do I start with female? Aven, Amal, the 2 male. We have kesem and nachash. These are the 4. Call it the Merkava of Amalek or anything like this. These are the 4 klippus where the Sheresh of Amalek is. And I'm going to dig into this because this is the most important to understand on the Sheresh of Amalek. This equals to 755 equals to Kshay. In the Torah, there's no vav. Oy ref. Stiff-necked, stubborn. People don't realize when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the Bnei Israel that they were Kshay Oyref after the Egel, basically the message means you're using the klippus of Amalek. And therefore, you're going to have the same din. Because it's not who uses, it's what you do. And since you're using the klippus of Amalek, you're basically in the same dance, and you got to dance here. This is also equal Lev Soirer Umoyle. When a person, basically the Torah gives us, windows to look into the nature of people and know who they are. When someone doesn't want to do, no, I'm like this. I'm open, open Orthodox, not exactly Orthodox, but I'm Orthodox, but I'm open Orthodox. This guy has no Yerushalayim, no nothing in his heart. He's a Lev, Soirer, Umoyer. He just cannot blatantly show who he truly is because he's scared of being uncovered. But he is a Soirer, Umoyer, on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do we fight that? What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Now I can expand on this, but I don't want to waste time. On how a person, by just using this, gets punished. But let's go take the antidote. The antidote of Amalek is the way we keep the regalim. Mikroi Kodesh, and you will understand after that why. Why it is, what's so special. What Chazal say, this, the character of keeping the Moyadim. That's the antidote to Amal. Someone, Chaz v'Shalom, who feels that he's slipping down the path, and he has to reinforce his keeping of the Moyadim, especially the Simcha amongst the Moyadim. This is what is going to keep him away from the Derech of Amal. But the Zohar keeps on going and says, you know what? Amalek, by definition, is a cheat. And therefore, there's another klipa called Mirma. And these are all, as much as these Germans, they look proper and you can trust them and they think in business or whatever, they come down from these clips. These are the 5 clippers of Amalek. We all know the wrong brazenness is Gaiva. And it takes a person, the Gemara in Echin Tezva Amud Beis, we cannot repeat every time. But here you have the definition also that the Abbas HaKadoshim gave us in order to be saved from Amalek. Avram Avinu said he is Afar Va'efer. Anava. Why? Because Anava equals 131. It was exactly like Samar. So in order, the son cannot approach someone who's on. Can grow. For him, it's an objection. He cannot. He has to leave. This equals 638. This equals Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. What is attaching a person to the Abbas HaKadoshim is the midah of Anava, but the true midah of Anava, Afar Va'ed. And when a person is attached to the Abbas HaKadoshim, has nothing to fear from the clip of Amal. Now you understand why some people were able, even during the Holocaust, they were able to survive, to escape, because Amalek has no shlita on them. He cannot overpower them. He cannot do anything to them. But then the question is, I understand. You want to show me the bad side toward the good side. But this awakened a question. The previous halacha we have in the Torah is Even Shalema Vatzedek Yihyelach. I'm going to copy you the passage here. 1 second. Okay, here's the pasuk. And this is exactly what precedes the din of Amalek. And this pasuk itself, it's troubling. Even shalema, vatzedek. You couldn't say even. So we're talking about the ways, that you cannot cheat in the ways. Try to make money through, and that's exactly what the Targum Yonasan says here. He says you cannot cheat in business. This is part of this issue. Even shalema vatzedek. You have two adjectives. It's not enough to say shlema. You have to admit tzedek. It's not enough to say tzedek. You have to admit shalema. But when it's shalem, it's tzedek. And when it's not, and when it's tzedek, it's shalem. So why do you have to repeat me something that has basically the same connotation? And not only this, look at this lashon here. It's going to be exactly repeated right after. So why don't you save time and put even ve'efa shalema vatzedek yelach. That's it. And it saved me one. Why did you have to repeat this by both of them? And that's what precedes exactly the tzivui about destroying Amalek. So we see that here we have something that's going to enable us to go under the skin of Amalek and see what his DNA is truly is. You remember the story. In order to answer you this, I will give you a little prelude, with when Yaakov blessed his children. He got to Yosef HaTzadik and he told him, I'm leaving you an extra city. And this is the city of Shechem that I took with Becharbi, with my sword and my bone arrow. But it's not true. He paid for it. That's the way he got it. So what is Yaakov Avinu saying here? Why is the pasuk changing the true history? We know from the psukim in Parshas Vayishlach that he bought it. He paid full price for it. B'me'ah kesita. So why is the pasuk? Why is Yaakov Avinu telling Yosef HaTzadik that he conquered it with his sword and his bone arrow? The second problem in Mefrashim have, you're going to see how all this disappears when we understand in depth. Because of just a shirt, a big difference that he gave Yosef HaTzadik, this awakened the hatred of the brothers. Now you give him, you didn't learn Yaakov Avinu from your previous story. I don't want to say mistake. You have to give him now a whole entire city more than his brothers, but you're going to leave this world and you're going to leave them behind. And maybe there's going to be a hatred amongst them again because of that. Let me explain to you what's going on here. Yaakov Avinu, and you're going to understand also why it had to be for Yosef and not for no one else. All these questions disappear. They're non-existent. Because these words, Becharbi or Bekashti, we do have a legitimate question on this. And if you look in the Midrash, on the Targum, Bitzloisi ubevausi, with my tefillah and my techina, my begging. 1 second. We never seen in the Psukim that Yaakov Avinu went to Shem ben Hamor and begged him for the land, to sell him the land. We never seen that. We never seen in the Psukim that Yaakov Avinu davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he should be able to purchase that land. Never seen that. So what's the whole inyan that the pasuk is trying to hint us? What is Yaakov Avinu trying to tell his children? Which side is he passing on to the brothers, the Bnei Israel, and till the end of times? What is he telling us? Look at this, what Yaakov Avinu is telling us. Yaakov Avinu is foreseeing the tsaris of Amalek. If we take the 4 clippers that the Zohar mentioned, and we add it, the 5th one that he added afterward, this equals to 1,040, equals the Harabi Uvekasht, equals Beva Osi Ovitz Loris. Exactly like the Targum said. The Targum, the Onkelos, so that's why he translated exactly those words like this, because he saw that here we're not mentioning about buying a piece of land and giving them, because Yosef had the midah of tzaddik. When the Zohar says when Amalek came, what did he try to do? He tried to mess with the das of Kedusha. He tried Asher Karecha from Lashon Kri. He wanted to be Metame, the Bnei Israel, with Hirhurim Rhyme. He wanted to be Metame, the bris. That's why the Midrash says he was taking the olas and throwing them up there. Says, if that's what you want, here they are. Maybe Shabbos had explained you the side in all this, what Amalek was doing and why was he punished so harshly and seemingly an orangutan throwing the olas, Where is the Esau? Where is the huge, Avla here? There's none. So where is it? But here, let's stay on course. Amalek, just like Bilam, just like if you take the word necheshalim acharecha, you see the same thing. The word necheshalim here, we said in the pasuk, sorry, hanecheshalim. You're going to understand why the pasuk uses a word like this. The words inside are nachash, mila. Remember, we've learned that when a baby is born, he only has 2 letters. The Zohar said shed, shin, dal. When he does the mila, the yud is niskale, then automatically the nachash that was inside, the sam that's around, they leave. And instead comes yud ke vav ke inside, shakai on the outside. Yud ke vav ke shakai is 340, shame. That's why we do Kriya Shem now in the mila. So he wanted to reverse that Amalek. He wanted to be metame the mila. So only someone like Yosef at Tzaddik, that's why we call him Tzaddik, that he had the Yesod, the Midah of Yesod. That's why he was able to get Shechem, because Shechem equals 360, the 5 times Chesed. He can bring, when Am Yisrael is in the Tzara, the Tzaddik has the power to counter all these 5. Aven, Amal, Kesem, Nachash, Mirma, meaning even if Amalek is throwing everything at us, we can counter it. Cannot against us. They can. Now you understand all these pretense, great nation. Oh, they're so careful. They're caring about terrorists. They're caring about, I hate to go off record here, but I'm going to tell you what I have in my mind. The only place in the world that doesn't have a mixed ethnicity is Gaza. They have different ethnicities of terrorists, the PRP, the Hamas, the ISIS, the Al-Qaeda. The people there, they all belong to a group. They all vote and support one group of terrorists. Though the world, with the fake morals, with the morals of Amalek, finding there an opportunity to go after us. And it sticks. It doesn't mean it sticks because it's true or whatever. It means because these clippers, Aven, Amal, Kesem, Nachash, Mirma, have a successful kitrug in Shaman. The kitrug is overpowering the tzad of the Kedusha. It doesn't mean who's right, who's wrong. On the battlefield, it's not the stronger that wins. It's not the righteous that win. There's a whole mixture of sets values, who's going to come victorious. But we know the war is done in Shamayim. And when you have these clippers going up and be mekatreg on Bnei Israel, every time Israel has gone against the Bnei Torah, terrible things have happened in the history, and you would think they would remember, but they don't. That side is so entrenched in the midst of Amalek themselves, is leftist, that they're creating their own downfall, and they think, no, only the Bnei Torah are going to fall. No, it's you that are going to fall. It's you that are going to take the blast. Hashem will take care of the Bnei Torah. And this is a current example where we see that a kitrug of these clippers, even though it's not genuine, and it's clear to the whole world. Now, when they go after the shechita, what do you think they go after? You think just because they're caring about the animals and everything? No. They have an understanding in the Tumah. What is the shechita doing? The shechita is the 3 times Hashem Elohikim, meaning mituk hadinim. And they don't want. They want Chaz v'Shalom, the dinim, to remain on Bnei Israel. When they go after the Milah, why do they go after the Milah? What through ages, all of a sudden, they're caring about the baby Jews? Pharaoh threw them in the Nile. They killed them. Nazis killed them. Somewhere they were doing a shot practice. They used to throw a baby in the air and shoot. Which nation does this? But no, you don't understand. We don't do that on regular babies. These are Jewish babies. And this is where the rational comes, and it's all biased. But we understand what's going on behind the scene. They don't care about them. They don't care about them anything. They want the Nachash to be here. They want the Nachash to rule in this world, and they should be able to do anything they want. These are those caring nations They're very scared to they're very scared to reveal the true meanings, that the motivations. That's why they're leaving. So now let's focus on how we defeat Amalek. So we saw before that the antidote to the sun is another. I said before, another equals 131 equals Samakel. And the Avram Avinu said, which the others practice, it says, V'anoichi b'hi atekanoichi, Afar v'efer equals 780. Yeah, 718 equals Satan and Satan, the male and the females, but it equals something mind-boggling. Mikveh Yisrael Hashem. There's a mikveh down here we go in order to purify the goof. But when we need to purify the midas, when we need to purify the ruach and the neshama, another is a purifier. Look at this. Anoichi afar va'efer cancels not only like before another. It cancels both the male and the female, the malach hamaves. Mikveh Yisrael Hashem. Now we know in this pasuk to go back to understand Amalek through that pasuk, because we understand him more from the outside and from the inside. We know that Eben equals 53 equals Gan. "53 parashas in the Torah, but mostly what is the same in the Malchus, written with its aleph that's missing now. That when it says he took from the kisei an aleph, here's the aleph that he took right here. Because the kisei, it's the Malchus. In Olam HaBeriah, it's called kisei. That's the Shem in the Malchus. Now we write it Vav Vav because Amalek trapped this aleph. But once this aleph is freed, Geula Shlema Mashiach. The Talmud of the Ramchal, the Moshe David Valley, Zecher Tzaddik V'Kodesh Libracha, explains that what's Even Shelema Vatzedek, it's when the Malchus is full. You know that the Vilna Gaon said on this pasuk, the Vilna Gaon is Eliyahu ben Shloimo. Even Shelema. Aleph, Eliyahu ben, son. Shlema, Shloimo. It's written without a yud, so it's Shloimo. He says this is where it's hinted in the Torah. Says the Moshe David Valley, that these are Keneged Shleima Vatzedek is Keneged Rachel and Leah. Because when a person is not just, honest in his financial dealings, he's doing two types of God. One in Rachel Imenu, one in Leah Imenu. The only problem with that explanation is, okay, fine. I'm buying this. There's two nekevois, and you're saying two leshonos of Shleima and Tzedek. Fine, I'm buying. But then what's repeated? What's repeated to us? You could have said it, according to you, it should have been said once on that someone who does cheated on the Evan, which was a stone that was used in order to weigh Schoira, or the Eifa, which is also a weight. Just say it once. It's exactly the same thing. Why do you say twice this? And the pasuk finish, Kito Avas Hashem. Hashem is disgusted by those who do this. Kol oise ele, kol oise aver. Doing any cheating. This whole repetition about this psukim is really mind-boggling. But at the end of the day, it shows you, it's an introduction to how to avoid the kitrug of the klippus of Amalek. And right after it says what? Vayavoy Amalek. Because then you also bring Amalek. If there's a kitrug up there, the klippus of Amalek, Amalek as a nation will come up against the Jews down here. And basically the intention of the pasuk is to tell us how to avoid this. Look at these leshonos, this chokhmah the pasuk is basically hinting here. It's amazing. Shleima Vatzedek equals 575. Equals the first oir that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. Vayomer Elohim Yehi oir. When a person is complete, then the oir, and at that time, the oir of the Yareach, the moon, and the sun was equal. And that's the original oir. That's the oir and Soif when he came to the world, the one we call oir Agon. But if you don't keep them, equals Yetzer Hara. The Zohar says, who is the Yetzer Hara? We call him the Satan. So who is the Yetzer Hara? When the male and the female of the Tuma, the Sam and his female, the Malach HaMaves, come together on someone, it's called then Yetzer Hara. They both call Satan independently, but when they get together, they call Yetzer Hara. So basically the Torah doesn't tell us, doesn't force us to do anything. You want, you don't want. Eitza, like Chazal say in the Gemara, Eitza Teiva Kamash Malam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you the rules of how the lower world and the upper worlds are working. And I give you an advice. Ubacharta b'chaim. You will choose life. You will choose the bracha. How do you choose the bracha? Be honest. But if you're not honest, there's no middle ground here. There's no three like Benoin, Tzadikim, Reshaim, and Benoin. No, there's two. You either on the side of the Kedusha, the Sitra, the Kedusha, or if you are in the Sitra Achra. That's how dramatic it is. Now, why Ephah was repeated? So we understand now Evan, what it represents. Evan represents the Malchus, Pades Rimoinim, the Ramak there explains that at length, what it is. But it's exactly this, in a sentence. If we take the word, if I don't remember, if equals 96 equals kel the yichud of the malchus in order to be able to go out. When someone cheats on the ephah, it's a bigger weight. So when someone cheats on the ephah, I have a big side to pass it here. I'm just struggling how to word it because it's huge. And despite that, on that share, it's not usual to speak about this kind of level, but it's so huge that I need to pass it and find the right words and make it digestible. So we know that we send the Shechina right before the Chadridi, we say, Ana Bechoyach, and boom, the Shechina goes to Olam HaYetzirah, and then to Olam HaBeria, and then to Olam HaAtzilus. When someone cheats on the weight, he prevents the Shechina from going on. Because the Shechina is formed, it's called Knesset Yisrael. The whole, basically, we form all together the Bnei Yisrael, we form the Shechina. And since there's one amongst them that cheats on the weight, on the ephah, it prevents the Shechina from going on. There's another side here, but let's take our pshat is pretty good. If we take the whole pasuk, Even Shleima Vatzedek. I can just put it here. Anochi Afar Va'efer. Now read backward and you can see someone who's not keeping his weight honest. The Shechina cannot be mitayar him. His neshama is not going up. He's inhabited now by the Satan and the Satan, one on the out, one on the inside. And he has no anava. Because he has no fear of HaKadosh Baruch. And if I take the second part, just to see what he has, I'm going to put it in. Equals 751. Equals good for you to learn this, because this is part of the kavanas of Birkas Kohanim. we know that the Yichud of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, and I'm going to take my time to explain you this, is Yud Kei Vav Kei with Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. That's why we see with our eyes Yud Kei Vav Kei, but when our mouth are saying the word, we say Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. We make a Yichud at that time. And when the Yichud is complete, it's written like this, in full. Which equals to 716, which equals to Nachash. You either make a Yichud of Kucha Berichu and the Shechina, or a Yichud in the Sitra Achra. That's the choices a person has. Beracha uklala. Pick you can. Now, a long time ago, I made a share, I think it's on YouTube, about the bracha of Yehuda, what Moshe Rabbeinu, but for you, you know, all the psukim are starting with these letters, Aleph, Gimel, Lamed, Aleph, which is a tremendous name in the Gvur, which is Ata Giboy Le'olam Hashem. Okay, these are the first letters of Ata Giboy Le'olam Hashem. And in the mikveh, we turn this, which is 35, to Aleph Lamed Dalet, which is also the Shem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's more Rachmi. This is Dinim. So Yehuda used to use in his wars, it says the Ariyah Kodesh, in Pashas B'Zos HaBracha, that was the name that Yehuda, that's the essence of the strength of Yehuda, he was using that name. And when we go to mikveh, we temper it with this name. Now, if you take, so, and this equals 35. If you take 716 plus 35, equals 751. Basically, it's not only, look at the Begam, when someone cheats its weight, it's not only going to the Nachash, but any shame, any of the holy names that come and can help someone to give him a Yeshua from a tzara are gone for him. He can daven until tomorrow morning, he won't be answered. That's the pshat in this repetition of Eifa Shelema Vatzedek Yihyelach, you preventing the Shechina from going up. You made a period between Kutsha Berichu and Shechina. The dinim are gonna come, the oinesh of Nachash, and there's no Yeshua. Because the name, the Gvuros of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are not there. The Gvuros, the Shem of the Gvuros of the Bina are not there for you. What's the remedy? The remedy is only correct your misdeeds and have Eifa Shelema Batzed. Because otherwise, this is exactly and the proof is, if you take this 751, I can go further with this, equals Chet, Nachash, Chet, Nachash. Period. I wrote it there. Ches Nachash. The din in Shamayim, they're allowed to go there. The Chet calls on them directly. And who comes on them? The Sakadosh Baruch Hu tells us, now I told you how to eradicate Amalek. You have the Shemesh that work against Amalek. When you take down the Nachash up there, you go and keep your weights, and you do Yud Ke Vav Ke Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Yeah, the Nachash and Nachash, they're dead, they run away. When you need the Yeshua and you know how to be miskaven to the Shem, no problem. You're going to have a Yeshua. But if you don't do that, then wonder not about why you're being punished. Let's go back to our Amalek for an instant and see, what we just said. I could have added you something else. Well, why it's called Toyavas Hashem, and forget it. I can't go in every detail on every pasuk. We're limited by time. When Esav went to Ishmael to take Machlas to marry her, he knew that he couldn't alone against Yaakov. He didn't like Ishmael. Frenchies, Belgians, Netherlands, Germans, English don't like Ishmael. But they know they're dumb enough, these people, to be the scapegoat to go after Israel. That's going to be their breach. They fell. They all hope that Hitler succeeds. They were all with him. Don't tell me they have a change of heart. A new nation came up, new people. They're the same people. They're the same people. The new Nazis is called UN. That's the new Hitler. The whole reason he was formed and everything, it's because if Hitler fails, another way, put the Jews in a land that's indefensible and let the Arab finish the job, because no one cares about these people in the world. It's not like the Germans do it. So the Chamoir and the Shoer got together. Shoer is Esau. Chamoir, so we have Shoer is Esau. Chamoir is Ishmael. It's called 760. We know everything. Says the Megala Amukos. From this union, because the Zohar says, from there came the Caleb, Amalek. Says the Megala Amukos, if you take the middle letters, if you take the middle letters, Mem Vav Vav equals 52. So I'm going to put 52 here just for you to know it's only the middle letters. Equals Caleb. Amalek is the Caleb, is the door. So now we find ourselves with, they added one klipa in order to fight the Jews. Shoer, Chamoir, Caleb equals 812. There are many gematrias about this 812 to knowing, but completely mind-boggling. I'm going to bring you a couple, and I'm going to finish on this because It's getting already late. Just to show you, because I don't want to give any credit to this going, especially in the time we live, Tsaras equals 760. And we know Tsaras, what it is. A Metzora has nothing inside, no nefesh, ruach, uneshama of Kedusha. Is completely, his potlosh and hara is completely a barrier from the other side. Shei Chamer Kelev equals 2 times Metzora. A person that went into this way in his lifetime, he's Metzora in this world, he's Metzora in the next. Has no way out. His neshama has long left him. He has nothing. In other words, as Isaiah says, when he dies, because this person doesn't pass away, he dies, he becomes a ruach ra, and he joins the armies of these klippos, and he goes out. His mission is to entice the Bnei Israel in order to be chayte. This is what a person. How do we beat them? Oh, we want to beat them with the tefillas of Rosh Hashanah because it's all about these inyanim. If we take the word keye, the name of the bina, and the milui, we're gonna and milui the milui. So twice we're gonna feel it. Aleph, just for the word aleph, so we're gonna write it all together. Lamed, te. That's aleph. Then we have hey, so it's hey, aleph, aleph. Sorry, it's in the bina. Hey yud. So it's a yud. That's for hey. That's aleph, hey. Then I have te, ye, yud. So yud, it's yud for the letter yud, vav, dalet. Then I have hey, yud. This equals the Torah. Tshuva ilah, because tshuva opens up the way the tshuva works is not I just redeem myself. The name Keye opened up and reopened up. Why? Because you went, and that's called the tshuva ilah. The person has gone looking for minuscule gamim that his maaseh has generated, and he is chozer b'tshuva even on this. When you go to that extent, the shame of the bina goes out and removes every chitzonim, every of the klippos of Amalek. And this is the reason Moshe Rabbeinu was having his hands up. As the Zohar says, there was a war up there and there's a war down here. Becharbi ubekashti. When we're going to be becharbi ubekashti, like the shofar is like a keshes. So we're going to daven and we're going to blow shofar. And this is going to take Amalek and all his klippos out. Because if you're right, so now that we know Amalek is the Caleb, we write it in full, Chaf, Lamed, base, equals 586, equals shofar. That's why we read it now. Amen ve'amen. Have a great Shabbos, all of you. And B'ez Hashem, good preparation for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Kol tov.